No, you're not here. What I want you
Okay.
to do is I want you to start recording, and then I want you to mute your fucking microphone
Yeah.
so I don't hear your kids screaming.
Or possibly me. Yeah. You wouldn't be able to help anyway because I got my
I'm
headphones in.
gonna do the intro.
Okay.
And I'm gonna do a better job than you.
You better nail it. You would better nail it.
Hi, I'm Bud Robinson, and welcome to the Wrestling Hour with the Brewd. To my left is Leon. Say hi, Leon.
Hi, Leon.
I'm not really Bud, I'm Town, but fuck it, who cares?
God damn it. I thought you were... Are you wearing a mask?
No, I am not wearing a mask. My hair looks great, though, doesn't it, Leon?
Alright.
You're
very pretty. You are very, very pretty.
I'm a pretty man. We are Bud Robinson list tonight, so we're going to do our best to have some semblance of following along with the schedule, because it's kind of Bud's job, but Town's going to pretend like he knows what he's doing. We have a very special guest tonight.
Trouble.
I'm going to be in trouble. We have a very special guest tonight. Joining us is Russya from the WWA. How you doing?
Hi, friends. Great. How are you?
So, I'm great. My hair looks great, so I'm great.
I'm jelly.
Yeah, I know. I got a hair tie in there, and it's looking good. I feel like a hipster today. Hipster Town. That's
you got the man bun. I got the flannel. I think it works.
It's not a man bun yet. It's just
That's close enough.
You look more like a sumo wrestler. So we're gonna talk about Russya tonight. And Russya was your character in the WWA for
Indeed.
many years, kind of. Well, we're probably gonna tell some really stupid stories that you remember better than us. We're gonna talk about some of your other characters. We're gonna kind of hit the full scope of your experience of the WWA, but we're gonna start out with the beginnings of Russya, and that would be when we first met you. I'm gonna guess because I think I know when it was, and it was like 6th grade in the lunchroom at our middle school.
Yeah, we all ate lunch together.
By all of us, it was me and you and Bud in Rainville.
Right, and then some other assorted characters, but yeah, you guys were the main group I ate lunch with for most of middle school. Yeah,
you made a really wise choice doing that.
I had a great time. I'll say that.
You were like the only girl there, as I recall.
Yeah, on occasion there would be another one join us, but it was typically only me. Yeah. Story of our lives.
And then, when did you first know that we were wrestling in the backyard? When did we first talk about that?
So I knew it was happening before any of you talked to me, because you had a class with my best friend, Missy, and she was telling me about it. And I was huge. I loved wrestling, but I don't think you guys knew that. And then I had history class with Jensen and Dear Leader, and I'd heard them talking about it, and
I love how we've already indoctrinated her to calling him the Dear Leader. That's fantastic.
Yeah. And
now, so is this freshman year of high school that you had that class?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
was in there too.
You were?
For half the year I was in there. Then I got moved to a different hour because I was a naughty kid.
Right. And I was also a naughty kid that semester for somehow being the best student in class, but that's another story.
Hey, just for the record, that teacher's still there and she still hates me.
Yeah.
With a passion. I accidentally held the door for her one day. Mistakes were made.
Oh, God. Anyway, so I had heard that it was going on, but nobody had talked to me about it. And I kept thinking, like, I would love to be involved, but there was a lot of stuff that I really wanted to do when I was younger that I never got to take part in, either because I was busy with other stuff or my parents were really strict. So we had met a long time. All of us had met a long time before I started wrestling with you. And it wasn't until many, many years later that you guys found out that I actually really liked wrestling.
And I guess I don't remember how we got you to come. because you came one time, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but you came one time and then you didn't come back for a long time, and then you came back later.
Right.
So I don't remember how we got you to come that one time. I do not remember. I remember what happened very clearly, but I don't remember why you came. Like, who got you to come? I don't know if it was me or if it was Bud or if it was somebody else.
It might have been Bud, and I don't remember exactly what came next, so I would love for you to enlighten me. But so the reason why it was just that one time is so my parents, my dad, who I lived with, was really strict, and I was also working, and I had all kinds of other things going on. So I didn't really have a whole lot of time, and when I did, I was basically on house arrest, on lockdown. I wasn't allowed to go socialize with friends. And when I was spending time with my mom, she lived on the complete other side of town. And I think that might have been the time I actually took the bus. I don't think I brought my brother with, but finding something.
You did take the bus. I remember that.
Right. So my younger brother, either he had to go to the pool or he had to go somewhere nearby because he was not quite old enough to spend the day by himself. And I think I got grounded, and it became like, is this enough for me to go? And I'm going to be grounded for weeks if I do something I'm not supposed to anyway. So I came that one time and got grounded, and then having to take the bus from the other side of town on the rare chance I was spending time with my mom, it just wasn't possible for me to come and do it anymore.
I seem to remember you having to leave to catch the bus. So that sounds right. And I'm pretty sure that Bud was the catalyst of that.
Pretty sure.
I knew you, but I don't know. Because that would have been freshman year. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Bud. Now, if we talk about the name of Russya and the gimmick, this is the most unoriginal thing ever. We were ripping off WCW, who was ripping off WWE at the time. Because they had China, and then they had Asia. And then I was like, let's go with Russya. It was me. I was the one that thought of Russya. And we'll spell it with a Y because that's cool. And then, I mean, your gimmick, I don't even really know how to quantify your gimmick when we thought of it. Because I don't know what it was. You were just kind of there.
I was, and I had a catchphrase. I don't remember what my gimmick was. So I would kick everybody. Like, I was supposed to be the only one who could kick people. But the tagline was, "Wouldn't you rather be in Russya?" So I didn't have a gimmick other than a nasty thing that people would say.
I'm pretty sure we stole that too. I remember. Yeah. So let's actually move on to that. The show that you came to, you were part of Evolution with myself and Chris Canyon.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know. I don't think we had a plan. I think we were like, she's coming. What are we going to do? And then we were heels. And we were basically trying to rip off DX. We're like, let's just do that. So then I remember, all I remember is me and Schmaz must have said, wouldn't you rather be in Russya like 70 times that day? It was like every third word out of our mouths.
Yeah. I remember that.
Go ahead.
I remember that very clearly because we had to make Valentines in French class that year. And all of my Valentines to everybody, I was just practicing, like, is this the right way to say my catchphrase in French? So all of my Valentines that year were, wouldn't you rather be in Russya?
That was perfect. So you were the first girl to join. And you walked in to what we had. And what we had back then was very rudimentary. But it was still a quote unquote locker room full of dudes. What was it like walking in there for the first time? So
I had already had a lot of experience being the only girl anyway. Between lunch and then we would, in middle school, we would play a lot of games at recess, whether it was, tag or football or whatnot. I was already used to that environment, so it was not new to me at all. It was really just exciting to get to be a part of something I wanted to do and hang out with my friends. But anybody else who would have come and experienced it, like, I'm sure you guys let loose a little bit more as time went on. I think there might have been a little bit like hesitation that first time because I don't remember being shocked at all. And I remember some of the later years, like, this is what we're doing. Okay, like, yeah, sure, that's fine. So either you were really tame as young high schoolers, which I doubt.
We were also 15 and we didn't know what the hell we were doing, which is a huge part of that. And we had a new we practically, the way I looked at it from a booking standpoint is we had a new toy. We didn't know what the hell we were doing with it, which was pretty much every time somebody joined. And we never had a good idea until we got Leon. And it was like big man monster, crush people, you know. And that was probably like the first time we really had a legitimate idea for somebody. So you joined Canyon and Hardcore and Evolution.
Yep.
I thought it was an interesting mix. I don't think we spent enough time in that group to really have a feel for like what would have worked or not. It was just kind of like one day, and it was like a one-off.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a fun day. You did kick a bunch of people. I remember that. But it was it was just kind of a one day, and I guess after that, I think the feeling between myself and Bud and everybody was like, we don't know if she'll ever come back. We didn't know because you kind of said that. There's no way I'm going to do that. So you kind of touched on why you were gone, and it was about 2 years, give or take. And then you came back. What led to you coming back?
Well, I don't think I could drive yet at that point, but I'd started gaining a little bit of independence. I had been spending more time. I think that was the summer I started spending more time at my mom's house. So I had a little bit more freedom.
Did Rainville initially pick you up? I can't remember.
No, Rainville never picked me up. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he didn't. I'm pretty sure it was Bud, or I got a ride, or I took the bus, or I rode my bike.
I seem to remember your bike. I remember your brother coming too.
Yeah, because I couldn't drive until after we graduated.
I remember the first time I ever met your brother, and he came to my house with a Grand Theft Auto on his memory card, Vice City, because he couldn't beat a mission, and I beat it for him on the first try, and he was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah.
So, when you came back, we were in a completely different spot from when you left. I would say we were way more advanced. We had way more stuff going on. We had way more fleshed out characters. When we brought you back, I think the idea that we had was for you to kind of be like a valet, but more like an ass-kicking valet. I don't think the plan we ever had was for you to work. Initially.
It seemed to me more like Lita with Eddie Guerrero. That's what it seemed like to me.
Yeah, and I think that's what we were kind of aiming for, was just, and to be honest, I cannot remember who we initially put you with because you kind of bounced around a little bit.
I know, I'm pretty sure I was with Shockwave first, and then I think I moved to Hardcore.
That sounds right. That sounds very believable. When you came back and you're going to be Russya again, and I don't know if we talked about changing your name. I'm sure we didn't. What was your vision of Russya when you came back?
So this was, this was the late 90s, early 2000s, and I was excited because you guys were going to let me. I had a lot to learn. I didn't know any of the technical stuff that we were doing at all, and that was very evident if you saw any of the videos. But I envisioned, being able to work my. Yeah, but I envisioned myself being able to like learn and practice and whatnot, and we copied the name from China. I saw myself being able to learn how to actually wrestle with you guys. And not just have to be, oh my God, I'm the girl wrestling. I could get in and actually be in matches with you guys and get to wrestle and not just necessarily be like camera candy.
Yeah, and that eventually happened.
Which was awesome. I loved it.
So when this is going to be some fun kind of things we're talking about right now. When we brought you back, you were more than just Russya. We started giving you more characters.
Right.
So we're going to talk about some of those characters because we started bringing some things out. And some of them I have some hilarious stories about.
Yeah.
The first one I remember would be Leon's girlfriend, Guinevere. And I don't know. I do not remember coming up with that. I remember Leon telling me that you guys were doing that.
I don't remember this one at all.
I just remember making the name.
Okay, so you made the name. I just remember you had very mismatched ponytails in your hair. And
it was also my normal hair.
No. You went over the top and you were Guinevere and you had your own Leon voice. And it was
okay.
Fucking hilarious. He remembers. Do you remember that, Leon?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
I remember not knowing.
I think we randomly came up with the name during a segment.
Yeah, because I think you said it. And then we had to do it, and then I had no idea what you were gonna do because it was complete ab. It was complete ab lib.
We just kind of made it up,
and it didn't. I don't think Guinevere lasted very long.
No,
but it was like a 2 to 3 show thing, and it was freaking hilarious. And then it just kind of moved on. The other, I have so many visions of this one in my head. Oh my god! The other one that you were Rex's girlfriend Nikki. Do you remember doing that?
And Guinevere and Nikki blend into my head into the same character. So I remember this very clearly. Yes. You were
that makes sense.
You were a female that had a penis. Essentially, was the gimmick, and you were with Rex.
Yep.
And we ran with that for a little while. Like that character had some legs. I was with you were in. I just remember. I remember the introductory segment we did with you because I remember me and Bud, and I remember I'm sitting there, and my job was to look because you were at eye level, and to look around and be like, "What the fuck?" and then we did this thing, and then I'm sitting there looking at it, and I'm looking at the camera, and I'm just pantomiming the shit out of it. And then you guys walk away. I'm like, "What, Bud? Did you see that? Oh, she was beautiful. She had a beautiful face. She had beautiful breasts. This and that. She had a beautiful throbbing penis." Hey, wait a minute! That's all I remember. And I just remember that was so. Oh my god, that was so fucking funny. I remember laughing my ass off.
Oh my god!
Were you at the table? You were at the table for that one, weren't you, Leon? Or was that just me and Bud? That might have. I can't remember.
I think that was you and Bud.
I think that was just me and Bud, but it was, oh my god, it was so fucking hilarious. And then I remember when you would go to the ring with Jensen, and you guys had really good chemistry. You and Jensen had really good chemistry, and it was just like a joy to watch because it was so hilarious.
I love that, and I love that on so many levels. Jensen and I we had chemistry, but we didn't always get along outside of the ring. But I loved that character, and I really loved it. There are a lot of things that don't age well, especially when it comes to, queer stuff, gender stuff. But I'm glad I got to explore that, and we got to have a lot of fun with it. And it seems like a pretty shitty, cruel gimmick that we did in the early 2000s. But that, if you could sum up my gender in one 30-second video clip, it would be Nikki. That's my gender right there. And getting to do that as a late teen, young adult, really set me on a course for life to really understand who I am. So I think it aged pretty well if you knew me at all.
That was a fun character, and she worked really well with Rex. Just like I said, you guys did not always get along, and that's an accurate statement. But it was, I mean, that was hilarious, the stuff you guys did. And you guys didn't. I think the thing that I liked about it was we played it up that first time we did it, but then we never really played that up again. It was just assumed that everyone knew it, and you guys did your own thing. And it was just some of the things you guys did were just
no holds barred.
But I remember Rex won a match once, and you gestured like you wanted to catch him in your arms, and then he pretended to jump in your arms. Yeah. And just the image of that was if that really happened, she would die because he would crush her. Because it was such a sound. But oh my god. I always thought that you and Jensen had that ability to go, and it's an ability that I don't know that I always had, and I don't know that Bud or Leon always had, or Rainville. You had that ability to go outside of yourself, and you just didn't care. Like it was all about the show, and you guys were willing to do whatever, and you didn't care how it made you look. And I think that was, and then we talked about this, Leon, in the Rex episode, how part of the reason that Rex was so good was because he didn't care what he looked like. He didn't care what happened. He did it. He knew it. He knew the character. And I got that.
He was there to put on the show.
He was, and he wasn't afraid to do anything. And then I got that same vibe. I got that same vibe from you as a whole. You and Jensen in that way were kind of similar. You guys were just willing to do whatever it took to go out there and put on the show, and it didn't matter. You were willing to put on any act, and I think that was. I think when you two were together as Rex and Nikki, it was freaking fabulous. It was freaking fabulous. You also were a French lady. When we had the French team, I do not remember the name you had.
No idea.
I just remember we had a tag team that was supposed to be French. No one could speak French but you, and you talked in French, and that was supposed to make you a bad guy. This was...
Well... uh-huh.
This was like 2002 when the Americans were mad at the French. And they were doing it...
Freedom Prize.
That's it.
And there was... You forget that a couple years before, I think it was was it our junior prom? It was our junior prom. So in French class, we had to make, for French IB, you had to make a video at the end of the year for your project. It had to be all in French. Our topic was women's issues, and I had convinced you to let me write a wrestling show. And I stole completely right to censor from WWE, completely stole it, made some characters around some of the things that we'd been doing, and I wrote the entire thing in French. And you had okayed it. I gave you guys the scripts and we were going to perform it. But the weather got so shitty that day, and some of us still had things to do with our ECTs, that we ended up not doing it. But you guys were going to do a video in French with me because we were not allowed to speak anything other than French for that 15-minute video.
That would have went really bad.
It would have been awesome.
That would have went really bad.
What we ended up doing instead wasn't exactly great. I did all of the talking anyway, so I imagine it would have gone like that. But yeah.
I just remember we had the French lady that was towards the end of the run, and I don't remember. I remember having her. I don't remember ever doing anything. I don't even know who was in that tag team. I'm pretty sure Rainville was one of them.
Yep.
And
well, Leon was in the other team, B, I think, because Leon was also in French. So I think he was responsible for understanding what the hell I was saying.
I could have helped.
I always liked it.
I could have helped being one of the other speakers.
I always enjoyed it when we had Leon, and Leon was portrayed to not have any ability or skills at all. And then there'd be a time where like Town and Bud would use Leon as like a translator, and it would be perfect. I could see us doing that. Those characters were. I always thought that those characters. I don't really think we ever got to. Nikki got a little bit of traction, but none of them ever got any traction. But I always thought they were kind of you spreading your wings just beyond this Russya character. And then that also is when Russya kind of branched out and became like a little bit more. So we talked about when you came back, who you were with, and then you were with Hardcore. And we had a really interesting dynamic as a pair. Because you didn't always come to the ring with me, but sometimes you did. But we were always kind of together in that regard. I always felt like I had on-screen managers other than you, but I always thought you were the easiest one. Because everybody else, it was like I was always leading way too much.
Yeah. Which
is common for me because I was the guy that was like, I was the one booking the shit, which makes perfect sense. But I always felt like, you know, if I was working if it was Hardcore and Orgasmo and I cut a promo on Orgasmo, I don't have to worry about Orgasmo. I know he knows what he's going to do. And I'm just going to respond. Or with, you know, Shockwave or with Scott Borden. But when I had some other people, it was like, you had to feed lines.
Yeah.
And I hated that. And I just, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, Leon. But I never felt like that. And I felt like Russya was the one that kind of added like a dimension to hardcore without having hardcore just, the blind lead the blind. We were good on screen. I thought that was a good pairing. I thought of all the people that hardcore ever had, that was probably his best one.
It made sense for just being a heel. Russya didn't make sense as anything else, I don't think.
At the time, no. I would say no. I would say later on that changed, but at the time,
sure.
I thought we formed a. I don't want to say it was like Triple H in China, but in a way it kind of was, because it was like we weren't always together, but you knew we were always going to do something together, like we were still a unit. And that was kind of, I think that was an interesting, I don't know if that was done on purpose necessarily, but it worked really well. Go ahead.
Oh, it was more like, if you see one, don't be surprised if the other shows up.
Yeah, and we'll probably be doing something bad, like attacking you when you're not looking.
Right.
So
gotta look over your shoulder.
but then we can roll into. You also got put with Orgasmo, and Russya and Orgasmo. You guys were super short lived, and it was quick.
I don't remember that at all.
It was.
I do.
You do.
That was the first time I got my ankle busted.
That could.
Do you remember that?
I don't know if I remember that.
I was learning how to take a body slam.
That was the time frame. Yeah, that would have been the time frame.
Learning how to take a body slam. All of a sudden, I'm flying 7-8 feet in the air, no idea what's going on, land on my foot. It was the size of my ass, and I couldn't walk for 2 weeks.
I seem to remember that. So,
yeah.
Tony the historian can step in here. What we did, we had a Orgasmo hardcore feud plan, and you were going to kind of be the catalyst in the middle.
Yep. And
so we had you managing hardcore and Orgasmo at the same time, and we won the tag team championships.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so you spent about, I would say like a month and a half managing Orgasmo, and it worked to a degree. I don't think it was as successful as the hardcore one, because I think that one made more sense. But I thought it added an element to Orgasmo, and I'm pretty sure this is when you were in your Undertaker thing, Leon? Where you were Undertaker Orgasmo?
Did we ever work together when I was that guy? Because I knew that whole thing was kind of as a result of hardcore putting out normal Orgasmo.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's when that happened.
I trust your memory then.
Yeah, that's when that happened, because you guys were together, and I don't remember the specific dynamic we were going for, but we kind of put the Russya in the middle of that, because that was when Tony drew the names out of the hat for who was going to be the tag team champions. And it was hardcore and Orgasmo against what the fuck, Nero and 8 3/4, which was a hat size, but Tom was too lazy to pick another name. So it was a handicap match, and we just fucking killed them for like 5 minutes and beat them. And so you managed us when we were the tag team champions. So you were like right in the middle of that feud, and then I remember I turned on you because I assaulted you backstage, and we put like 46 chairs on top of you. And I don't know if you remember that, but you were laying on the ground, and we kept piling shit on top of you. We had like couch cushions and chairs, and we just kept putting shit on top. And it was like somebody would grab something. Let's put this on there. So we had like this
literal burying.
It was literally, we buried her. It was like essentially buried her. That was about the time though that you had a sit down conversation with me, and we were drunk. We were very drunk, but we had a conversation.
That's like every weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, but we were fucking hammered. I remember talking to you, and you were like, I want to wrestle. I don't want to be a manager. I want to wrestle. And I said, you want us to train you to wrestle? And you're like, I want to fucking wrestle. And I was like, okay. So when, I guess, and you talked about it before, but when did that decision that you wanted to wrestle kind of, when did that totally, like, you decided that, like, fuck this shit, I don't want to be a manager, I want to be a wrestler? When did that, like, when was to the point where I'm not happy with this, I want to become a wrestler? When did that happen?
So I always wanted to wrestle, but the thing was I didn't know how to do it. And there are a lot of things in my life, and as a group, we've all got stories, and I have moments with all of you like this, where if I don't know exactly what I'm doing, I don't want to do it. So I also thought you guys just practiced a lot instead of getting out in the ring and making mistakes. And that's how you learned how to wrestle. I thought, like, maybe on a Thursday night, we all come around and, like, figure out how to learn this stuff. So eventually I just got over being self-conscious and realized, like, there isn't some kind of training or some kind of practice that I'm missing. This is it. And the weekends are going away. You know, I've got to grab life by the balls and do it. So I finally just said, I'm not going to sit around and wait. I don't care if I look stupid. I want to do this. I'm not going to care about looking stupid.
I'm amazed that you thought we practiced.
You knew so much more than I did.
I'm amazed. Well, we also were.
You'd had years of
lot of
practice,
trial and
like,
error.
actually doing it. Yeah.
So a benefit that both of you had was the fact that myself and Bud and Rainville had been doing this for multiple years before you guys got involved, so it was really easy for us to say, hey, try this. Hey, try that. Hey, this doesn't work. Hey, that doesn't work. So we had, like, a really good foundation of it. We kind of knew what the fuck we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as it turns out, I'm a good teacher. I don't know how that happened. But,
Right.
so,
Well,
it's ironic.
Foreshadowing.
and I do have to give Shockwave a lot of credit, because we talked about this a lot too, and he kept being really encouraging, and I was like, yeah, I can do this. Like, if you guys can do this, I can do this. So I have to give him a lot of credit for helping me get over the I'm too afraid, I'm too stupid.
Because I remember. Well, let's go to the next thing. When you started wrestling with us, did you have a lot of nerves, or how were you feeling about it, or was it just, like you said, were you just fucking ready to do this?
I was so excited. I didn't want to screw up. I was just so excited to be there, like, ready to get in the ring and do it. No idea what that meant, but I was ready to do it.
So I remember you coming over with myself. I don't think Leon was there, but maybe he was. But myself and Bud in Rainville, and we set out the ring, and we literally trained you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we literally went through shit, like, and we did it a lot.
Yeah.
And then we had, you and Crispy. I trained Crispy too. And then did not turn out the same, but that would, totally different story. But we literally actually trained. You were the first person I think that we truly trained, like, legitimately fairly well. And we spent all that time. And then I remember we didn't have, like, this is what we're doing. We're going to push her like this, this, and this. It was, well, let's just give her a match. And let's just let her go out there and have a match. What was the learning curve for you?
It was... I'm a really fast learner, so it was, oh shit, it's gone by so fast, I need to do this again so I know what I'm doing. But it was like, once I got in the ring and you guys were helping me along the way, like, feeding me, here's what's next, here's what we do, the more I got to do it, the more I learned and the better it was. So that was the best way for me to learn. It was steep, but it was really effective, and I loved it.
Because I remember your first match was against Bud.
And it was terrible.
It was pretty bad. I'm not going to argue with you. It was bad. You were nervous as shit. I remember that.
Uh-huh.
And then every week we gave you the pre-main event match. Every week we did. We did that for, like, the rest of the time you were there. It was always, and every week got a little better. And it was Bud. And you worked a lot with Bud in Rainville. You didn't work with me, and you didn't work with Leon. Do you know why you didn't work with me and Leon?
Bud and Rainville and I are the same size.
Leon and I are stiff as fuck. Like, we are stiff as fuck.
Oh, so yes.
Yeah, like, Leon is unpurposely stiff. He's just kind of accidentally stiff. I lay shit in there. That was my thing. Like, you're gonna fucking know you wrestled me today. So that was kind of why. I like being snug. I was snug with Leon quite a bit too.
Yes, you were.
Yeah, you were snug with me back, so it's okay. But
Yeah, it worked.
that was kind of the thought. That was legitimately a conversation that Rainville and Jake and I had. Is we were like, we can't fucking put her with Leon. She'll die. She's not ready for Leon.
My ankle, yeah.
No offense, Leon, but like we're not ready for Leon.
I can.
And then Bud said, if she's not ready for Leon, she's not ready for you either because you're kind of stiff. So I was like, oh, okay, fine. So I remember as we used you then, you started bumping for everybody because you were getting, if you got hit, you bumped, and we purposely had you bump for everybody because I, like you said, when Leon body slammed you, that was a bump.
Yep.
I think I bumped you a few times. I mean, I took you out, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Who's the easiest one to work with? It's not me or Leon. I fucking know that.
I learned a. Sorry, Leon. I didn't really learn a whole lot from you. I learned a lot from U-Town, but I gotta say, like the meat and potatoes, I learned a shit load from Bud. But some of like the special, because I was supposed to be like more agile. You've got Rainville jumping off of ladders and roofs. I was not going to jump off a roof, but I was the one who's going to be kicking everybody. So if I had to learn more like agile stuff, I learned a lot from him. Like how do you do it and how do you make it look theatrical? But a lot of the meat and potatoes I learned from Bud.
And I think that there's a lot in that statement because I think especially when we talked to Leon about when he came in, I think he picked things up from everybody, and I think everybody kind of had their spot. You know, Rainville was the spot guy. So if you wanted to do something that looked cool, he was the guy to go to. Bud was the meat and potatoes guy, and I was more of the promo setting up the matches guy. And we kind of all had our own. We had our own specialty that we kind of focused on. I think that same thing kind of happened. Would you agree with that, Leon?
Yes, I was tall.
Yeah, that was all you had. You were.
You
tall.
were.
That was.
You're
About,
not
I was
anymore.
tall.
What happened to you?
No,
Leon?
not tall no more.
So yeah, you wrestled matches that summer. That was our last summer. You were not there for the last show. You left before.
Didn't you guys have another year after the last year I was there?
No, we
Really?
did not. We did not.
I know I wasn't there for the last show.
You were not there. You left
In the summer.
No. You were there. You were there for the last year or the last summer because when we piled the chairs on you was about the same time that we gave the world championship to G-Shock, and then he never came back. So you were there because I remember you were the catalyst of that feud between Hardcore and Orgasmos that last summer. So you were there. So you missed the last show by like, I want to say like 2 shows. I think 2 shows later was it.
Okay.
So why'd you leave? Where'd you go?
What year was that? Holy cow.
Yeah, we're fucking old. It's okay.
We are. Well, lots of head trauma, so the memory's not great. But like my life is nothing but a series of I'm moving and doing something new. So that was the year. Yep, I was getting ready to move to Minnesota to go to school. And so when my ankle got destroyed, I had a road trip planned to Ohio to go to Cedar Point that next week. So I'd been doing a lot of road tripping to Ohio and Michigan.
Good job,
and that
Leon.
was the summer before I went to Minnesota. So that had to have been it. And Lord only knows what I was doing. I was 18 and had a car.
I think you were older than that. I think you were 19.
Nope, because I turned 19 in Minnesota. I'm younger than all you guys, including you.
Well, that's good. Make me feel really old. Shit.
You're welcome. It's my job.
Down, you're old.
Hey, Leon, you're older than me by like over a year.
Really?
Yeah.
You're 2 years older than me, bud.
Oh boy.
Don't call Leon Bud. Now I'm confused. Who are we talking to? So Russia's run wasn't like super long, but it was super long. But I feel like you did a lot in that period of time. you were, for a period of time, you were the only girl in that locker room. And you said it wasn't bad at first. How did it go later on?
That was my normal atmosphere, so it was fine. The only bad stuff was the non-wrestling stuff that filtered its way in, and the rules we had to make and the changes we had to make about that. Like,
I think it's interesting because that was relationships many times fucked that company up because no one understood. We were high school kids. Like, looking back on it, it's like, yeah, it was fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was like, fuck you. You're an asshole. But
and it doesn't. Just because we were high school kids and it was stupid, it doesn't mean that we also didn't say and do some really shitty things that hurt people badly, right? Just because you're young and stupid doesn't mean it's not impactful, you know?
Yeah, and I think...
Yeah, it doesn't excuse it.
I was the one that had to deal with all the drama because all the drama flowed to me. Because I was the one calling the shots. So
everybody talk to you.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good for that. But yeah, I don't remember the atmosphere backstage being too shitty other than that.
It was weird, but not shitty.
Oh, we did weird shit, but we are who we are.
It's fine.
Yeah, we're an odd group.
We are a really odd fucking group. I mean, so you have talked to me about stories that you remember, and I'm all for let's tell some fucking stories. I know one thing you commented to me about immediately was the Vaseline on the pole match.
That is the one. Whenever I think back on those days, either I think about Rainville trying to jump off of the roof of the garage.
I remember that.
Or the Vaseline match. And there were several parts of that story that haven't been told, and I don't think they're necessarily worth telling for the minutia, but that Vaseline match will live in my memory. There are people on other continents who know that story because that is my favorite.
I'm international.
I just fucking remember, like I said, the thing where Newman had it in his hand and then just put it down Jensen's chest and it's in his hair and it's just glistening and there's chunks of it. And I was sitting there like, what the fuck? Why did I book this? And then I went out and then I was in the next match. Funny. I was in the next match as a referee and Rainville's bumping and he's just sliding all over the goddamn place.
So that summer I had a lot of weird things to explain to my parents and my family, like going to my cousin's confirmation with my knees all scabbed up from the backyard, and it was at a very prim and proper Catholic church, so that was exciting. But explaining why my bikini was ruined with Vaseline, that was...
Nikki was for that, wasn't she?
That was Nikki.
And my bikini got ruined
with Vaseline.
How could I fucking forget that? They were covered. There was fucking Vaseline everywhere. Totally everywhere.
Everywhere.
Was it Nikki?
Even the socks I was using to stuff my bikini were covered in Vaseline. It was everywhere.
She was out there as Nikki. I remember that now. And I
had the Vaseline in my bikini like holstered.
You did, and then we had some on the pole, and then they got it, and now Leon claims he doesn't remember Joshua.
Oh, I remember Joshua. Oh God, I remember Joshua. Too. I can't wear red flannel because of that.
Why? What?
He was wearing a red flannel shirt. Oh. Anytime I wear red flannel, it reminds me of Joshua and the Vaseline.
Joshua was hilarious. Joshua was hilarious, and Leon, that was the most.
I think I just remember Jensen saying Joshua.
Yeah,
just like the way he would say it.
Joshua.
Yeah.
There's a video on the internet, legitimately, of you guys having a final commitment match where Rex fought Joshua, and if Joshua won, they had to get married. And then Rex beat you, but then you got married anyways, and you guys fucking kissed on the lips.
Yeah.
No comment on that one, Leon?
What?
You kissed Jensen on the lips.
He was a delicate kisser.
I believe that. He probably was. That match was.
He had whiskers, though.
He did. Everywhere. His whiskers were everywhere. I remember that, and I remember I was in the main event. It was Hardcore Borden in the main event that night. The winner would fight Orgasmo for the belt. And I remember trying to put him in my finish. And I go to pick him up, and he just slides off my shoulder. And I'm like, what? He's like, dude, there's Vaseline everywhere. I don't know what we're gonna do to get this off the rug. I remember that. That was...
Your mom saw us come inside the house, and she got a little upset because we got Vaseline all over that back door and the house.
I remember that too.
She
just
didn't
kind of let me go. They just kind of let me go, which was good because I did some weird shit. But yeah, no, that one was a joke that just got out of hand. And then it really happened.
It was beautiful.
And fucking
like many of our things.
I just remember Leon. I'm like, Leon, you're gonna fight Jensen and Vaseline on a pole match. No, I'm not. Yeah, you are. Who's gonna win? Well, he's gonna beat you. Well, I'm putting Vaseline on him. There's no way I'm not putting Vaseline on him. And Is there any other ridiculous stories? Is there any other ridiculous stories that you remember?
There are so many. I know there are some that you don't want me to tell, but there are so many.
I mean, tell away.
I mean, pick any of the ones where I end up tits to the sun. And there are a couple of times where, thankfully, the video camera was not working and not saved for posterity, but either the camera or somebody ends up like with a face full of my chest. That happened several times on accident.
That happened several times. That
like,
never
fully on accident.
It never happened to me. I was never the one. It was always. I think it happened to you, Leon. I think it happened to Bud. Yeah, it happened to you. I'm pretty sure.
So it happened to Leon because you're so tall. When you're kneeling, you're basically chest height on me. Like, we went grocery shopping one time and I wasn't paying attention and you were bent over a shopping cart and ended up with your ass in my face because you're tall and I'm short.
That sounds like a bad evening.
It was not wonderful. So yeah. And you were waiting to get hit with something, so your eyes were closed, but you ended up like right there.
That was the French people. I remember that because so Bud and Rainville were the fucking French guys. Leon was getting beat up and they were holding him and you were gonna hit him. And you went back to hit him and it just everything falls out. And I was talking to Jensen because Jensen was doing camera. And Jensen's just like, I think her boobs are on. I remember that one.
Oh my god. And my dad didn't want me coming to wrestling because even through school, like I wasn't allowed to play football with you guys. I wasn't allowed to like do actual sports wrestling because the boys are going to touch you. They're going to take advantage of you. And I don't remember how many times. I think even Dear Leader was like, let me talk to your dad and convince him. I know if I touch you, you're going to kick me in the balls. I refuse to do anything dirty. And like lots of the boys in class had said the same thing. So they were afraid, like, oh my God, the boys are going to like molest me. Lo and behold, that was not the case.
You got any other stories? Anything else you want to touch on? Story-wise? I mean, keep going. Because we have a lot of shit. We did a lot of shit. Whatever you remember, let's talk about it.
Oh my God. Oh, wow.
We like putting you on the spot.
No, and there's so many things to talk about. I think I let off the finale of Fireworks before I talked about any of the other fun stuff. I do remember a lot of the side bits that we did. I thought it was Nikki, but I guess it was Guinevere. I do remember that. I really had a lot of fun just doing all the side bits.
So you were there when the Brewd really got entrenched and they kind of became the focal point of our backstage and all our segments. And that was like a comedy fucking variety hour. And you were a part of a lot of those. Oh my God. There's so many stupid things we did.
I don't think they were all stupid.
They were pretty dumb. I do remember the intro when we brought you in and we introduced you as Russya the first time, me and Schmaz, and you came out and we all stood there and we looked awkward as fuck and we had no idea what we were doing.
Yeah. That was the.
We walked to the back, and you're like, "How did I do?" I'm like, "Oh, good." And you were like, "What am I supposed to be doing?" I have no fucking idea.
But you did it good.
That's one of the best things I loved. Like, if you're a heel, you just be pissy. Just be pissy, and that was the best part. Like, I'd do that all day.
Did you like being
in a heartbeat?
Did you like being a heel better than a face?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Way more fun. Like, I am chaotic neutral anyway as a person. It was pretty great.
How about you, Leon? Did you like being a heel or a face?
I like being baby.
I figured as much.
I mean, heel occasionally with the right story, the right turn, the right betrayal. But I really like being baby.
It was really fucking hard to make Leon a heel. And that doesn't sound right because he's so big, but it was like, he's just like not a heel.
You can't make Leon a heel. What was the story even?
It's really hard to make Town a face. Because I'm apparently
the one that sticks out for me as far as like the heel face thing. Like, I think I was kind of leaned toward heel when we did the whole RBW invasion thing.
Yep.
And like you and Rainbow, and I think Bud was there too. We had that little in ring where like everybody was starting to go at I think it was you and Rainbow starting to go at each other. I had to like grab the both of you and like, guys, if we don't stop this, we're not going to have anything left here. And and I was just like, I think I was supposed to be heel at that point, but it was definitely a babyface moment.
You were a bad heel. You weren't Rainville bad. Rainville was bad heel. But you weren't a good heel. You were not a good heel.
Yeah.
I always, with all your characters, when you were playing somebody that was goofy, Brooke, when you were playing like Guinevere or Nikki or something, it was really easy for you to be a face, but when you had a serious character, it had to be a heel.
Yeah.
And that's what I always saw. But I get that. I'm the same way. Were you there when I was a face with the pickled eggs? I don't think you were.
I remember pickled eggs, but I don't know if I.
You probably were in and out at that point. Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
That was when you started ripping off the what routine, wasn't it?
I didn't rip off the what routine. I just said pickled eggs. I don't think I ripped off the what. I can't remember though. It's a long time ago.
I thought you were listing stuff off like pickled eggs and everything, like he did with the beer and tequila and.
No, I just made pickled eggs my fucking catchphrase. I cut a promo on Bud about pickled eggs, and he was just like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" I'm like, I fucking don't know. That was good. I just remember those last 2 summers we had. You were kind of everywhere because you were doing so many different things. You were doing Russya, Guinevere, Sammy. And I swear to God, we had other characters for you. That probably were one-offs that we don't remember. Do you remember any other characters?
No, but I do remember it seemed like every week it was, okay, there's going to be a Russya thing, but we need somebody to do something, so I'm going to step in, like how Curvin ended up being a character, I'm sure. Just like, we need somebody to do something, so you're going to do this. Or do you have this kind of shirt? Go find one, and we're going to do this. That's all it was, and that's the kind of stuff that I love.
You never went to Battle Royal?
No.
Okay. Those Battle Royals used to be fucking hilarious. We need an episode. We need an episode all on Battle Royals in the WWA because holy fuck.
Good lord.
They were fucking epic. The stupidity of those.
They were.
That's how I came up with Steve the janitor who turned into a Hulk Hogan and then an Undertaker and then a Hollywood Hogan and then back to a Hulk Hogan. And I'm like, how did we get here? What happened? I don't even remember.
Steve the real American.
I mean, I loved those. Some of my fondest memories of the actual wrestling are of the Battle Royals. Like,
they were insane.
Right, and there was one time, I think it was raining even, and it went on until the rain had stopped. Like, they just went on forever. You never knew who was going to come out.
No, because those were really good, though, because we got some really interesting characters out of there.
That was a lot of booking on the fly there, wasn't it?
I don't remember when we started our Battle Royale kick, but me and Bud were like, fuck it, let's do it. And then we just would come. It was almost like, hey, here's a new character. Put this song on. I'm going to come out as this guy. And he would come out, and it was just a complete parody or something ridiculous. I rode my bicycle to the ring and pretended it was a Harley Davidson, and I was Steve, the American Badass. And then I came down to, like, Kid Rock or something. The Giant. Andrew the Giant was another one. That one was fantastic. Oh my god, those were so bad. Handy Snack.
Oh god, I forgot about that.
Handy Snack was great. Taboo.
Oh
my god. We seriously could do an episode of solely on fucking Battle Royals. Because it was that epic. You broke your foot, that one you said. Leon busted your ankle. Did you take any other bad bumps with us or no? Was that like the only one?
No, it really... Like, I never broke a rib. I bruised a lot of stuff. I had like scabbed knees and elbows for weeks on end. But
we all did.
We all did
for a while.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't have to go to church with your family, but yeah,
because we're fucking heathens.
Well,
complete
it's
heathens.
Not my. Yeah.
I mean, the legacy of Russya on the WWA. What is it to you?
I hope it's not too much of a soapbox, but I think the legacy it was about the character and the wrestling. It wasn't that, like, yeah, it was cool that I was the first girl. I was the only girl for a long time. Like, that's cool, but it was never just about me like, oh, it's a chick. Let's make it look like she can do stuff. It was, here's a chick, and guess what? She wants to wrestle, and we're going to do some fun stuff. Like, it was, we had a story, we had, technical things going on. It wasn't just like, oh, look, here's Stephanie McMahon. It was, let's let somebody wrestle.
I would agree with that sentiment because I think we've had other girls in the WWE. You were the first, but you were also you were the one that wanted to learn the most. You were the one that was most interested in what we were doing. You were the one that wanted to be a part of everything. You were the one that wanted to, you wanted to learn to wrestle. You wanted to learn to cut a promo. You didn't just want to stand there and do nothing and just be the girl. You wanted to actually be. You didn't strive to be just the girl in your own thing. You literally wanted to be one of us, and you wanted to wrestle, and you wanted to do all that. And I think that was amazing because we had other girls, but it was like, I'm going to stand here. I'm not doing anything. And they were there for various different reasons, but it was your ability to want to work and your ability to want to pick that up and to come in and you cared about how things looked. You cared about storylines. You cared about the angles. You cared about how the bumps looked. You cared about all of that. And a lot of them just came in and it was whatever. Yeah. I always thought you were the easiest one to work with, hands down. Because you wanted to.
That's because I am. Yeah.
That's what I always thought. Leon, you have any input on that one?
You summed it up pretty well.
So many times you just let me talk and you agree with me. You don't have your own thoughts. You're just Tony's bitch boy?
Tony's bitch boy.
Okay, that's another t-shirt. Anything else?
No,
anything else?
No, you summed it up very well, though. It's like most of the other ones, you were just there to be like, oh, God, okay. I was asked to be here, and I'm going to be here, but I'm not going to put anything into it. I'll be on screen. I'll stand here. Okay, you go stand over here now. I'll talk a little bit of shit or something, and then, okay, are we done now? Okay. Wanted to contribute and come up with more and be creative and all that fun stuff with us.
That is a huge piece of it. The creativity piece was you had ideas.
And I don't know if you guys knew this, but I was in every band we had at school, plus the one at the local university extension. I was in a bunch of sports and had 2 jobs all in high school. And I would still, every Monday night, I would make sure I would lobby that our jazz band practices would still let me watch Monday Night Raw. Every week I was still watching wrestling. And I don't think it was ever as common knowledge that I'm just as into wrestling as you guys. When I was 5, I would play with my Barbies on Saturday mornings with Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage. Like, I wanted to be Macho Man Randy Savage when I was little. Like, in my heart and in my blood, I have been into wrestling. So
I think that was easy to tell. Two things out of that. Leon also played with his Barbies. Second of all, I forgot the other thing, but Leon played with his Barbies. Oh, no, the second thing was Monday Night Raw used to be awesome, but now it sucks.
yeah.
So bad. It's so bad.
Yeah.
I think on that note, I don't think... Leon, are you good?
Good.
I forget how to sign out. How did Bud sign out? Leon, you want to do the sign out? Go ahead. Your floor's yours.
I am Leon Robinson. This has been Town Drunk and Russya, our special guest. And this has been the Wrestling Hour with the Brewd.
Fucking fabulous. Absolutely fabulous, Leon. You did so good.
Yay.
So proud of you.
I feel pretty.